It's or the one or the other. It's or a unitary state with civil war and violence, or it's a Volksstaat or a land for each people in South Africa where they can govern themselves and where there will be peace. So it's or the one or the other. You have to choose.
People were confused. Many polls proved that. People were very, very much sort of concerned, and they were confused.
Our country is still plagued by violence. One of our commitments is to ensure that this violence is ended. The fact that we have these different religions, different languages, different cultures, we wanted to use that diversity as the source of strength, as the source of building national unity. Because, as I have said before, I am very firm in the belief that we have men and women from all population groups in this country who are bound together by a common loyalty, a common love to their common fatherland. We are one country, we are one people, and I want you to take that message away with you.
During the years of Nelson Mandela's imprisonment, the African National Congress was outlawed. It was illegal for people to join. After his release, the ANC was registered as an official political party, and immediately it became the largest in South Africa. In the 4 years after his release, Mandela had several meetings with South African President F.W. de Klerk. The two men forged a series of compromises with one major goal in mind: to ensure a peaceful transition to a multiracial society.
We have to rewrite the constitution of this country. The constitution of this country, the present constitution, is a distorted one, in that it does not and has never embraced the entire people of this country. It was a constitution that recognized only one group, one section, the whites.
Only within the conservative grouping of the whites would they still be stubborn enough to say that it was not a mistake. If we look at the rest of the world, people group and live where they feel comfortable. And that is what we want in South Africa as well.
Predictably, there was opposition to the agreement struck between Mandela and de Klerk. Objections came once again from the white Conservative Party.
We always warned against power sharing as a political model. The moment you share power in a political model of this kind, you know very well that you will become, you will not be in power anymore. You will concede power to the black majority. The black majority, the African-style majority, which will bring no hope to the innovation of the white man for the future.
Who spoke for South Africa's whites? The Conservative Party or President de Klerk's National Party? The Conservatives claim to have the most support. In response, President de Klerk launched a referendum, a vote to test the popularity of his party's reforms.
And the question was in the referendum, which was limited to the white population of South Africa: do you support the changes and the process of democratization that the state president has entered into?
Then we went into the referendum. We worked very hard. It was a snap referendum. In South African terms, it was a very short period of campaigning. And obviously the outcome thereof was a sounding victory for the president, his reform measures, and the negotiation process.
Other objections came from the Zulu cultural movement and its political wing, the Inkatha Freedom Party. The IFP and its leader, Mangosuthu Buthelezi, were concerned that the African National Congress could become too powerful in a new South Africa.
Well, the basic reason for why the IFP walked out was centered around the question of the election date and also around the question of the form of state. We were basically saying there are two issues which need to be addressed first. One was the issue of violence, because one couldn't, we believed, rarely talk about elections and so forth with violence the way it was. And so we needed to address that because we felt that the peace structures as they weren't working. The other question was the question of the form of state.
The issue in South Africa is we have different ethnic groups in South Africa which have different cultural backgrounds which should be respected when we want peace in our land.
One is allowed to having some different opinions. ANC is having its opinions which is different from ours.
In the end, there were many white conservatives who would not take part in the elections. But Inkatha proved to be more flexible. In a series of last-minute negotiations with both Mandela and de Klerk, Chief Buthelezi finally agreed to participate.
Everybody's anxious. No one wants to remain outside the elections. Everybody wants to reach the elections because it's the first time in the history of South Africa that especially the black population are able to vote, to cast their vote to choose their own government. So in order to vote, one should have an identification card. We open our offices for issuing IDs and election voter cards as from 7:30 in the morning until 6:30 in the afternoon. So a day we attend to 2,000 people per day, up to from 1,900 up to 2,000 per day. And some of the people here, you'll find that some of the people, they do stand in queue for about 1 hour to 2 hours, which is too long. Everybody is willing to take part in the election. No one would like to remain behind.
Since the days of Gandhi and since the days of the colored leader, Dr. Abdurrahman, the colored and Indian community have taken part in our struggle. We have resisted racial oppression together. We have waged the defiance campaign together. We were together in armed combat. We were together on Robben Island. In the ANC leadership at all levels, we are together. Indians, coloreds, whites. The ANC can never lose this election. The ANC is going to emerge with an outright majority.
What we have done, for instance, here in Soweto, which is a program of the ANC nationally, is that of door-to-door canvassing. We visit people in their houses, talk to them, explain to them the importance of these elections, talk to them about our elections manifesto, also emphasize the question of that freedom. If freedom has to come, that change will start through these elections, by first putting up a government that enjoys the support of the people.
We're talking about people who have not voted for their lives, but also people who fought for that right, for many of them, for the rest of their lives. And finally that moment has come. And it's just an anxiety to cast that vote and to usher a new South Africa. I think they understand that the vote is not only about putting in that piece of paper, but it's also creating a basis for a hope for a new South Africa.
All opinion polls in the country, without exception, are indicating that the ANC is the single most popular organization in the country. We are very confident that we are going to win not just a majority, but a very comfortable and large majority.
On May 2nd of 1994, outgoing President F.W. de Klerk conceded his defeat and sent his congratulations to South Africa's new president, Nelson R. Mandela. After thanking de Klerk, Mandela challenged his fellow South Africans, from whatever their individual backgrounds, to work together in the creation of a new, multicultural, multiracial society.
Establishment of grassroots organizations where people can deal with these problems on their own, at their own time. This is a part of the things that I feel that I wish we shouldn't lose in the new South Africa.
It's not going to be a question of just giving people power. We will be insisting that certain groups and committees of citizens be established to ensure that some of the principles that we have declared ourselves upon, we are in fact implementing them, so that generations and generations to come should know their history, and no dictator should ever again follow an apartheid type of line. There is no way that you can accept that people should forget about that past, that history. We think that the past is part of us.
Yeah.